Hey y'all, have you ever felt like your pelvis is just like twisted, or you've been told, oh, your SI joint's out of alignment or your pelvis is out of alignment, so you need to fix it this way? And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, what does this mean? We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what causes the pelvis to get out of alignment, as well as what to do to fix this. I'm going to tell you exactly how I fix my pelvic malalignment, as well as how to prevent it. So we're going to talk about using different things like SI belts, how to fit yourself with an SI belt to help stabilize your pelvis. And when you have a flare up, how to calm it down when you're in pain, like pain management stuff. And I'm going to give you some exercises that I live by, I do myself to maintain pelvic stability. So let's get into it. All right, so let's first start off with what causes this. So, a couple different things can happen. You can have with pregnancy and postpartum changes as your hormones change. The laxity in the joints can happen with those hormonal imbalances. So, sometimes it could be a fall or an injury to, say, your back or your pelvis. There's just straight up muscle imbalances. Say your hip flexors are too tight, or your hamstrings are too tight, and it's kind of pulling those hips out of alignment. If you have scoliosis, hip arthritis, again, changing the way you're walking, it could change off the alignment of that pelvis. And then general joint laxity. So, again, with hormone changes with pregnancy, that will happen. But also, say you were a dancer or a gymnast or you were an athlete and you had all this flexibility. And as sometimes the lack of strength that you had back when you were performing this sport causes that malalignment to happen because you don't have the muscle strength to maintain that stability. So, you have to really hone in and focus on fixing this. So let me just be clear really quick though. This video is not to diagnose you, to say, "Oh, well you have this issue with your back, you had this, so you have a pelvic alignment." That is not the case. But always consult a medical professional to check and give you a correct diagnosis on what is actually going on with your back. So let's talk about what your SI joint is. Y'all, your SI joint is where your sacrum and your pelvis, your iliums attach, y'all. It's right here. So I always say it's the dimples of your back. Now, there is a thing called malalignment, where someone will say, oh, you have an anterior rotation of your hip. What does that mean? Let me translate in layman's term. Basically, you have the right side here of the pelvis, the left side, and then it connects with your sacrum, right? Three major bones here, right? So what happens is someone will say, oh, you have a right anterior rotation. You're like, what does that mean? That means that this part of your hip is rotated forward. So this is rotated forward like this, and this side may be rotated back. It could be either way, but basically we always refer to it as what side is going forward. So what we're gonna do is, this is my friend Zoe. She's my little model today. I'm gonna show you how to correct a right anterior pelvic rotation. So remember when I was talking about it earlier, it's as if that right pelvis is rotated just kind of forward like this. And what we're gonna do is use your muscles to pull that pelvis back, okay? The right part of this hip, we're gonna activate her hamstring. So she's gonna bring her feet up here, 90-90. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take her hand, she's gonna put one hand back here behind this leg and the other hand right here in front of the opposite knee. So again, if it's a right anterior, you're gonna go to the back of the leg. So just think opposite. So back of the right leg, front of the left leg. And what she's gonna do is our legs are gonna be just kind of relaxed, neutral. So we're gonna press down into this right hand, press and press up, push hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. We're gonna do that 3 times. Ready? Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Good. Last time and push. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Good. And then we're gonna let the knees come down like this. And what you'll do at home when you're by yourself, I'm gonna help you. But what you would do is you take a pillow and just kind of stick it between your knees. Well, actually, let's do this. We have a little bolster. We're gonna put this between her knees and she's gonna squeeze, squeeze, squeeze hard and relax. Sometimes we'll do this 3 times and squeeze again and relax. And then third time squeeze and relax. Sometimes what you'll have is a little pop in your pubic symphysis. Did you feel it? What happens is this cartilage right here in this pelvis is basically gonna kind of basically get back in alignment. So it's kind of cool. Another way to do this, if it's kind of hard to hold, is we're gonna take just like a little broom. Like this is a little broom I use in my house. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring these knees back up. We're gonna put it behind. Remember, the right leg was what? Forward. So we're gonna go behind that leg. So we put it back here and the other leg right here. So this way, hold both sides here. And what she's gonna do is she's gonna push down with this leg and then up. But you're gonna stabilize this where it's not moving, okay? So ready? So push, 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 and relax. Here, squeeze together, squeeze, 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 and relax. Good. All right, so now her pelvis is in alignment. So what do we do now? One is doing some exercises to strengthen, but in the meantime, we're gonna use something called an SI belt to help stabilize the joint. Foremost, when you're looking at her pelvis, I'm gonna put my hands here so you can kind of see where her bone is. So this is the top of her pelvis here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come down here and there's a little shelf right here. You can feel where the bone kind of drops down. The belt is gonna come right underneath there like this. And then I'm gonna have you turn this way for me. Just back so I can show. And then the back of her sacrum here, we're gonna come from the top here and it's gonna wrap down and around to the front of her pelvis. Take the belt and you find the center of the belt and you put that right here in the middle of her back. Then we're gonna wrap this around and just kind of stabilize it. So we have this right here in the middle of her back. We turn around. And then what we're gonna do is in the front, see how it's kind of coming down at an angle. The shelf of her pelvis where we want to get underneath is right here. We're gonna come down like this and then across like so, making that stabilization here around her hips. Then we're gonna take this little guy, pull this around just to stabilize it. And then we're gonna do the same on this side. So think of this as just like a back support to hold your pelvis in alignment.
I feel like way more.
Do you feel it?
Like it's like way less pressure.
Yeah. So the good thing about this, and that's such a great point, is that this is going to help like for when you're exercising, walking, and doing things at your desk or whatnot at home. It's going to help stabilize this so everything's not moving all over the place. What happens when you're in excruciating pain and you're like, what am I supposed to do? So I actually just had a flare up. So let me tell you exactly what I did. So first and foremost, I alternated heat and ice. For me, heat and ice is my lifesaver. You can do either one. Do what feels best for you. Another thing is electrical stimulation. I have a personal handheld electrical stimulation unit, and what I'll do is I will set myself up on that, put the little electrodes on my back, and I will turn it on to help decrease the sensation of pain. So I always say that electrical stimulation is kind of like a trip to your brain. It kind of redirects your pain signals and kind of blocks that pain signal to decrease not only the hypersensitivity, but decrease the pain. Massage. I am a firm believer in using a massage therapist that can work with you and help decrease the muscle tension as well as increase the blood flow to help with that healing process. PT clinics typically have a service where they can do a lot of places are doing self-pay for a dry needling session. So call your local therapy clinic and they can set you up with an appointment to get a dry needling should that be, or even chiropractors. Different people do it. Just kind of research your area. And then most importantly, gradually increasing your activity slowly. So just because you have a flare up and all of a sudden you're feeling much better, and be mindful that if you even feel a twinge of discomfort, slow down, stop, stretch really good after, stretch and get back to your core activity and then revisit that in a couple days whenever that soreness is gone. So they take it very slow. So we're going to talk about how to stabilize your pelvis and some exercises to do. That way you can keep your pelvis in alignment. All right, you ready? Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about a transverse abdominis activation. I know that's like a fancy, crazy word, but basically, it's the corset muscle that we talked about earlier, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our hands here in our belly and one on our chest. First, we're gonna start with a diaphragmatic breath and I'm gonna show you why. So first thing I want you to do is take a breath into your belly and relax. So she did that beautifully, guys. So what you want is this belly to rise and this hand right here just to be very quiet and not moving all that much. So breathing in and then breathe out. Absolutely beautiful. Why is this important? We're going to layer onto this to activate these muscles by doing one extra step. So I'm going to actually have you, since you do this so well, put one hand on both sides. You're going to find the hard part of your hip, your pelvis, and drop kind of inside a little bit and come up just a little bit right there. Perfect. So what I want you to do is you're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, I want you to go like you're fogging a mirror. Perfect. You should feel like a little pop up, not like a whole bunch of muscles popping up, but just like little muscles. You feel that? Okay, so what we're gonna do is she's gonna breathe in. As she breathes out, she's gonna hold that abdominal activation for a count of 5. Ready? Breathe in. And as you breathe out, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Good. Notice that she's not tucking her hips. She's not doing all that. We are solely focusing right here on her abdominal muscles to activate, like I said, that corset muscle. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work on this abdominal activation while doing some other movements. So key for this one is we're not gonna have any hula dance, so we're not gonna move the hips. So doing these activation of the core, you're gonna hold all of this nice and quiet and steady while you move your legs. So the first thing we're gonna do is called a knee fall out. So we're gonna engage here. And then what you're gonna do is let this knee fall out here to the side and then back in. So if you saw, I know it's very hard to see, but her pelvis kind of moved a little bit to the side. So we're gonna do two things. One, we're gonna decrease the range of motion. Come out to just about here and when she does it. And then we're also going to make sure we maintain this. If you start to move those hips at all, that just means you lost the core activation. So we want to be careful of that. We're gonna engage here, come out to the side and then back in. Absolutely beautiful. We're gonna do 10 on this side and then we're gonna do 10 on this side. So do one here for me. Perfect. So you'll do 10 on the right, 10 on the left. That's a set of 1. And then another set of 10 on the right, 10 on the left. So 2 sets of 10. We're gonna layer onto this again. So we're gonna hold that abdominal muscle nice and tight, and we're gonna let this heel slide across the mat all the way out, down, and then back up. Again, making sure this pelvis stays stable. You don't let the hips rock back and forth as you're doing this. So again, we're gonna do 2 sets of 10. So 10 on the right, and then 10 on the left, 2 sets. Now we're gonna do what we call a march. We're gonna do abdominal activation with a march. So we're going to engage here. We're going to do a little march, just lifting that foot up off the mat and then back down. And then again, off the mat, back here and down. Notice for this particular exercise, we're alternating legs, okay? Before we stayed on one side, but this takes it to a whole nother level where you have to really stabilize that pelvis as you're shifting back and forth, okay? So engage here, lifting up and down, and then up and down. Beautiful. So for this one, right and left is 1. We're going to do 10. 2 sets of 10. So the next one we're gonna do is a straight leg raise. So we're gonna engage here, just straighten one leg out. I want you to pull those toes back towards you. Beautiful, just like this. And you're gonna engage here and lift that foot just about here. Up and down. Again, not letting those hips move. So kind of just let your tummy go and then lift up. See how she kind of lets that go and this kind of bulges here? Keep this nice and snug. Keep here and you're gonna lift straight up and down. Beautiful. Keeping that nice and tight. And as you see, she's keeping her hands here so she can feel that transverse abdominis muscle activating, holding strong. 2 sets of 10, 10 on the right, 10 on the left, 2 sets. Do what we call a pelvic tilt. So this one's just a little motion. You're going to tuck those hips, kind of pulling that tailbone up and under like you're kind of tucking your butt under. So let's do a rotation. Good. And then back down. So I'm actually going to have you do a little bit less motion that time. Do a little bit less here, just to there. Perfect. That's it. So it's not this huge rotation. We're not bridging. That's our next exercise. Just a little rotation up and then back down, relax. Good. And again, we're keeping this activated as we do it. All right, tuck underneath. Beautiful. And then down. And then magic number, 2 sets of 10. We're going to take the pelvic tilt to the next level. We're going to actually do a full bridge. So we're going to engage here. We're going to have our, beautiful. Let's have our hands on. This kind of gives you a little extra stability. We're going to engage here, press into those feet and lift those hips up and then back down. Notice that she's not going so high that her whole upper back is lifting off the mat. Like, yeah, do like a big crazy. We're not doing all that because what's happening here? We're not engaging our core. We want to maintain here, engage, and just do a bridge up. Beautiful. And then back down. Beautiful. And the magic number is 2 sets of 10. Here's a quick overview of what we just did. And don't forget, it's going to be in the description section for you as well. All right, so there you have it. Why your SI gets out of alignment, how I correct it, what your therapist is actually trying to tell you when they tell you how to correct it, strengthening exercises, as well as how to stabilize it. More questions? Comment below. Don't forget to follow me and hit that notification bell to get more videos just like this. And check out my website. I've got so many resources. I've got webinars. I've got all the things. And I hope to see you next time.